You are listening to Road to CEO, nothing but in-depth interviews with executives about their journeys as CEO. I'm your host, Will Marlow, and I hope you enjoy the show.
I am a 29-year employee. I've been here since inception, which is amazing. Time flies. And yes, it'll be 30 years next March.
I'm here today with Laura Penney, the CEO of the Coeur d'Alene Casino and Resort in Idaho. If I'm not mistaken, the casino will be celebrating its 30th anniversary next year. We're going to hear about what it's like to run a resort with 300 rooms, 7 restaurants, a 60,000-foot casino, 15,000 square foot spa, as well as an award-winning golf course, and probably other stuff that I left off. So I'm really excited to talk to our guest today. Laura, thank you so much for joining us on Road to CEO.
Oh, thank you. It's great to be here.
So did I get all that right? Is that, did I accurately describe the resort?
Yes, pretty much. When you lay out all those numbers, it's just amazing to think, all that we have to offer. Circle and Raven Golf Club is nationally renowned, and it's an amazing golf course, receives accolades since opening. It's very proud of our golf course. And we just opened up April 8th, last Friday.
Okay, excellent.
And then we got hit with snowstorms.
Weather has been hard to predict, I think, everywhere around the country.
It's true. Yes, very hard to manage and work around.
Yeah. So how many people are employed by the resort approximately?
We have about 700.
Wow.
And that's during our busy season.
Yeah.
And that has dropped. We are part of this national issue of labor, and we used to have around 850. Mm-hmm. So we're pretty much operating with 100 less employees. We found that in some departments that we're run much more efficiently with less staff, but some departments, such as especially the frontline workers in food and beverage and housekeeping, we're very strained trying to accommodate for not having enough staff.
Yeah. So what do you know? And I know, of course, what's in the news and all that, but there's a lot of disagreement over what's the cause of the labor challenges and all that. What do you attribute the labor shortage to?
It started right before COVID. We were experiencing some shortage of staff right before COVID hit. And then once COVID hit, it was just devastating. And we worked really hard to make sure that we took care of our employees. We paid them while we were off the 9 weeks, while we were shut down for the 9 weeks. And we paid them their benefits and their wages to make sure that we took care of them and that we were ensured that they would come back. And most of them did. Some of them we did lose. And then since then, we've been challenged to try to maintain our business. We've had to seriously look at just really think outside the box in regards to what is most important, and that is our gaming floor. And there were times to where we had to close off the hotel wing because we didn't have enough housekeepers. We had to change schedules for our restaurants. Wow. When we were open on Wednesdays, when our steakhouse, we didn't open until Thursday, and we opened later and changed hours in our deli. We've had to kind of juggle with staffing, with what staff we had, and really think outside the box and not freak out.
Yeah. Wow, that's really interesting. So really you've had to keep an eye on the profit centers and the things that are really kind of driving revenue, it sounds like, and then make sure that from a strategic perspective, you're allocating the staff there. And in a lot of cases, it sounds like you've had to keep certain areas closed.
Yes, definitely. And as far as what contributed towards that, I think there definitely is a different mindset for employees. I think the stimulus checks, some of them were able to, stay at home, and daycare has been challenging. So,
Mm,
looking at the expenses, some of them, it was more beneficial for them just to stay at home. And then they found that there's choices. They wanted to make different choices. They were more prone to step outside and look for other things to do, or other careers or other paths to
yeah.
follow.
So do you see the labor challenges persisting for the next, year, 2 years, forever? Like what do you see on that?
Yes, I do think they will be a constant challenge. And we're trying to definitely look at what we can do. As I said, think outside the box. Looking at our own process as far as recruiting, hiring, onboarding, retention, all of those we've been looking at much more diligently, and finding that there are ways that we can become better and more efficient in those processes. Um, Also, really looking at, as I said, our schedules and our high volume times, and asking our managers and supervisors to really look at those schedules, and be careful as far as who they're hiring, where they're putting them, cross training, all of those
Mm,
different processes.
interesting. So it sounds like maybe when you hire somebody, you're trying to almost hire for multiple roles at once in some cases.
Yes, 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 definitely.
That's fascinating. Yeah. So I've heard that before, that there's an increase in, um, when you're hiring somebody now, you want them to be independent. You want them to be, self motivated, even more. I mean, obviously, you would always want that probably, but even, well in the past, but now it's becoming more of a critical factor because you can't oversee everybody. And in your case, that there's going to be a short staffing, issue.
Yes, and then there's wage wars, and we've heard of other properties, and they're paying their housekeepers this tremendous amount of money, and trying to keep up with those wages has been very difficult and challenging. The fact we're located in North Idaho, and the state line is only 20 minutes east of us or west of us, and Washington State is much different. So, of course, in regards to wages, we offer
Mm,
amazing benefits. And I mentioned daycare. We do have our own daycare, very reasonably priced, discounted. So it's about how do we convey those benefits clearly and enticing enough for people to want to work here. We are located in a rural area. We're 30 minutes south of Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and also Spokane Valley is only 30 minutes away. And it's really a short drive, a beautiful drive, but it seems as though it's much further because it's more rural.
mm.
So we're challenged with our location. And people have choices they think if they live in Spokane or Coeur d'Alene, it's just a short drive. So constantly challenged, and that's something that we're working through. As I said, really looking at how to retain our employees. We have programs that we're utilizing. We have a morale committee. We have bonus incentives in place, and all of this is pretty new. This is new programs.
Yeah. So there's so many things I want to talk to you about, but so I'm trying to not jump too far ahead.
Yeah.
So why don't we back up for a minute and can you give some background on the casino, the resort? How did it start? What kind of an organization is it? And why don't we maybe give some context to what the casino's all about?
Sure. Um, I am a 29-year employee. I've been here since
Wow.
inception, which is amazing. Time flies. And yes, it'll be 30 years next March. And I was fortunate enough to be involved as to whether or not we should even get into gaming. Um, at that time, there was we had no idea what gaming was to offer. And all we knew was that there was some charity bingo games at the time. And we had heard that through this federal act, the Indian Game and Regulatory Act, that many of the other tribes, there's some tribes, particularly the East Coast, Midwest tribes, were conducting gaming and doing very well. And so we were experiencing low employment, high unemployment, I should say. And a lot of our educated tribal members were leaving the reservation, and the reservation was very seasonal as far as jobs. And so we were thinking, well, we need to look into this. And so the tribe put together a committee to look into gaming as to whether or not we should get into gaming, and look at the pros and cons. And I was part of that committee. Um, as I said, we heard of charity bingo halls, and we had some charity bingo halls located in Spokane, Washington. We visited, and Colville tribe, they had a bingo hall, and we visited their bingo hall in Okanagan, Washington. And then we heard of a tribe, Oneida, Wisconsin, the Oneidas in Green Bay, Wisconsin. And we visited. We flew there. I'll never forget this story. We flew into the airport, and just a mile from the airport was this beautiful resort. They pretty much had what we have today, 29, 30 years ago. And to get off the plane to see this beautiful resort that was owned by the Oneidas was amazing. And to see what they'd done with their gaming. They took us on a tour of their reservation to where they showed us their senior housing. They had their wellness center. They had a mall that they owned. And they were just doing amazing things with their revenue. They were taking care of their tribe. They're taking care of themselves. And we came back inspired and motivated, and we said, we're going to do this.
Wow.
And so in 1991, we signed off an agreement, a gaming compact with the state of Idaho. And we opened our doors in 1993 with our bingo hall. And we had 96 employees, and it was March 1993. And it was cold and snowy, and we were praying that people would show up. And there was, as I said, there's 96. Most of us were tribal employees, Coeur d'Alene tribal employees, and we just knew that there was something great happening. We knew that there was a sense of hope and opportunity, and that this was ours, and we're taking care of ourselves. And we were excited to open our doors and to provide a fun experience of bingo. We call it high stakes bingo. And so the first day, there were people lined up outside and in the snow, and they're ready to come in. And we had balloons out, and it was great. It was great experience. And 3 years into the operation, we introduced our gaming machines, and then that just took off.
Wow.
I also recall at the time, our CEO, Dave Matheson, came to me, and I was working in promotions and marketing. He says, I hope this weekend goes well. And he says, I don't think we're going to make payroll. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what? Because I was strained and stressed. Okay, we have to do well. We have to make sure people come here and spend their money, because we're not going to get paid. Fortunately, we made payroll, and things went well. And it's just grown ever since. It's been amazing to watch everything come into fruition. And we had no idea that we would have what we have today. And that is that the fact that we're providing jobs, also revenue for our tribal social programs. We're investing in our community, not just our tribal community, but within the region. We've given over $34 million towards education, and we help out with other organizations that are striving to help others in what they're doing, in their good efforts.
That's outstanding. That's a great story. When you visited the other casinos, like the Oneida casino in Wisconsin, I think it was, did you talk to the leaders there, and did you share information?
Oh, yes, definitely. That is something that I've learned, is that the tribes, they definitely have incorporated their value systems, which is very special. And in corporate America, you don't see that much as far as sharing information, supporting each other. Yes, we are competitors, but we do share. And as tribal leaders, that happens every day.
Wow.
And we met with the Oneidas and spoke with them in regards to how did they start up, what challenges did they meet, and a lot of it has to do with the law and legal as far as what is legal. And the premise of the IGRO was to provide jobs and to help the tribes take care of themselves with less reliance upon federal monies, government monies. And gaming has been an effective tool towards that effort, and they helped us along with that. We also pursued, we also met with the Choctaws in Oklahoma. They had huge bingo halls and they have beautiful casinos today. And they came and we consulted with them for a couple of months, actually for several months. They came and helped us start our bingo.
Wow.
And they came in, we met with them and they sat down and went over the programs and just set us up. And so, perfect example of tribes helping each other and supporting each other. During this pandemic, as CEO, this is something that we've never experienced before. We had no reference. And so I outreached to other CEOs, the other tribal casinos, and said, hey, this is, we're going to close. And are you closing?
Wow.
And even when we're going to open, we were we knew we had to open, but we had to do it safely. And then I I stayed in contact with them. And all the while through this whole pandemic, even to this day, I still make contact with some of the CEOs and check in with them in regards to labor shortage and protocols and even policies. So we have that open dialogue. As I said, we are competitors, but we do support each other. And that underlying basis is the fact that we're taking care of our tribe and trying to do best for our communities. And so we have that understanding, and that's what we share together. And I kind of alluded, but in regards to value system, that has been the basis for what we've done, and the purpose and the vision is to take care of our next generations to come. Okay. And gaming has provided that for us. So, and that same value system has carried us through this pandemic, has provided answers for us during this pandemic. As I said, it was so important that we open our doors, but we had to do it safely. Yeah. And that value system helped drive us do what was right and provided that vision to carry us through.
So I want to hear about the pandemic because you obviously were on the front line of businesses that were affected by the pandemic in hospitality. But first, I'm curious, how big is the tribe? How many members? What's the geographic radius of it?
Well, it's 365,000 acres. Mm-hmm. It encompasses. It is checkerboarded, though. We do not own all of the land. Mm-hmm. And we've taken our gaming dollars and actually bought back some of our land within our own reservation. And we have about 2,300 tribal members. About 1,000 live on the reservation. Mm-hmm. And we're currently coming up on our election time. We vote for our tribal council. We have 3-year staggered terms. And so we have 2 tribal council persons that are up for their position. And then so we have a total of 7 members. And once the 7 members are voted in by the constituents of the tribe, then that council, they vote who is chairman, vice chairman, and secretary.
I see. Very interesting. And when you're buying back property, is that because individuals may have sold the property, individual tribal members, or is it just because the property may not have been there to begin with?
We buy back. It's several different things. So there are landowners who are not Indian and they want to sell, and then so they will approach the tribe. We've had that. There's also tribal members from other tribes, fraction land that they want to sell. So they sell, but we buy back as well. So we bought a big chunk of land last year, and the development is just booming out here. And I think that's smart. And it's, of course, we want to buy back our own land and have that land base. But development, it's just booming out here. There's a lot of people moving to North Idaho,
Mm,
from Washington, from Oregon, and Texas, and California, of course. And we have a housing shortage. There's
mm,
the infrastructure we're challenged with the infrastructure. And the tribe, the reservation, is pretty open. As I said, it's rural, and so the development is moving onto the reservation. And so it behooves us to buy back our land and to manage the
mhm.
land as we see fit, and to take care of our land base and our infrastructure, and of course our waters and our lands.
Okay, so so now let's turn to the pandemic, because so I work with a wide variety of companies, and so I know that some companies were not, they were not hit hard by the pandemic. It didn't lead to a loss of revenue. And then other companies, that operate restaurants, hotels, things like that, were hit the hardest. um Sorry, let's take a little pause here. I think I probably hear my dog in the background. I think she'll be quiet now. I'm just gonna make a note of the time
I'm
that
going to grab a
happened.
tissue.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, 12:23. We'll go ahead and be able to cut that out. All right. So, and I think this is awesome. This is really great, and it's very enlightening so far. I mean, really love this. Um,
There's
so
a lot, a
yeah.
lot.
Well, and that's the best. I mean, that's the best for these types of shows, because we can learn all sorts of things.
And you can kind of take it in, there's so much going on in regards to, the tribe and the legal issues, and also the business. And there's so many different,
Yeah,
directions you can go.
absolutely. So let's talk about your response to the pandemic. So I assume March 2020, things changed dramatically. What happened? What was that like for you?
Well, I have strived to become CEO for years. As I said, I've been an employee for 29 years, and I've seen a lot and experienced a lot. So I was anxious to take on the position. I applied for the position uh, 3 other times.
Mm,
And so finally, I got my CEO position in October 2019, and jumped in and was ready to do some amazing things. We jumped in and started. My vision was to bring the team together and of course make money, and we jumped on that effort and started on track. And then COVID hit, um, and that was just so overwhelming. And we didn't have no idea what to do. Um, but as I said, the tribe is so strong in regards to the value system. The tribe developed a task force, and we were looking at the data, um, the local data nationally. It was just, the numbers were huge. People were dying. It was very, very concerning. In Idaho, it seemed that, as I said, that we're in a rural area, so the numbers weren't as high, and we were monitoring the numbers. We got together with our local health officials. We have a beautiful Marine Health facility, and our tribal leaders, along with the school districts, our local tribal school, as well as the school district, and council members, myself and our CFO, and we sat down, we looked at the data, and we're trying to figure out where do we go and how do we address this. We decided to close down the casino a week before the governor of Idaho closed the state. And that was a very difficult decision because we are a business and we're here to make money, and we rely upon those monies, as I said, for support of our tribe as far as jobs, but also for programs. So it was very concerning, but we were concerned that we were providing a source for the virus to spread, and we wanted to protect our communities. So we closed. And we've never closed our doors ever before. I think once we had an ice storm and we closed for that night.
wow.
And so I remember walking from my office down on the gaming floor, and it was just quiet. And I was almost in tears because I've never seen this before. And this is our source of income, our source of taking care of ourselves. And looking out to see the parking lot totally empty was just gut wrenching. And I knew from that time that we had to do all we could to open our doors and to figure out how we're going to do it. And we had to do it safely. So immediately, a lot of people went home, and then it was just like a different thought process. Okay, what do we do? Fortunately, our gaming director is a very sharp lady, and she says, don't shut off those machines. Do not shut those machines off. So we kept the machines on, because I heard that other casinos shut down their machines, and they really struggled to get them back up and get everything, set up. And
Oh,
then we had, okay, who do we need to protect, our cage, our machine, our vault. And so we had security, a couple of security that had to maintain surveillance.
right.
Um, and, we have a big MBR plant, state-of-the-art MBR plant for our sewage. And we had to, we didn't have the flow. So we have these microbes that help process everything. I mean, it's just crazy, all the things that we
Wow.
had to think about and consider. Well, we had to buy rabbit food, and we had to feed the bugs in our sewage plant so they could keep that processing going.
Wow.
It's just some of the things are just really crazy that, we never, had to,
Yeah.
consider all these things. And myself and the CFO, we were at work every day. We came to work every day, trying to figure out what we needed to do. And we met with a task force once a week. And we got a hold of some protocols from Wynn Casino, and it was a 35-page document, which was amazing. And we got a hold of that document, went through there, started modifying it to how it would fit our casino. Um, we, as I said, consulted with our local health officials. We had them come in to on site and look at all the different areas, from the restaurants to the hotels, and all the entryways, as to how do we establish our protocols and provide a safe environment for our employees and for our customers. Because we want to open our doors as soon as possible. So we worked through all of that. It was very stressful. I felt a weight on my shoulders, as far as, every day, we're still paying all of our employees. And we thought, honestly, that we were going to be closed for 2 weeks. And on week 4, we're just going, oh my gosh, how long can we stay closed? We have to open. Um, and then so we had established our protocols in place. I checked with the other casinos, the other CEOs. I said, we really need to open. What are you looking at for a date? And they were saying, oh no, probably not for a while. We're not even thinking about it. Where are you at with this? What are you doing? And we shared with them our protocols. We shared with them as far as what we're doing and how we're doing it, and how we establish these protocols. I got on Zoom calls with other tribes in California after we opened as well, as far as how we did it. And then we decided, okay, we're going to open April 27th. And we were ready with our protocols. Our employees, they were very uncertain. They trusted management that we knew what we were doing, and they were uncertain to come back. Some didn't want to come back. The ones who were able, we allowed them to stay at home and work. Um, and so it was really, communication was key. And communication was key as far as, this is why we want to open, because it's crucial for jobs, for community, for our business, but we're going to do it in a safe way. And we care about you. We care about the community. We're ready, and this is what we're doing, and this is how we're going to do it. Communication was key, and that did help. The employees came back, and of course, everyone had their masks on. We had temperatures, infrared. Supplies, as far that was challenging. We had back orders for machines. Fortunately, we had back orders in some of our food orders, and we're still dealing with that today. That was an issue as well. We had coordinated efforts of a mass and temperature, infrared things, along with the Marine Health and our tribal administration. So that was the task force, helped provide that source of communication. And we opened our doors, and we knew all eyes were on us. it was similar to when we opened our doors that first day in March 1993 that I described. That there was like, it was exciting, it was very uncertain. I was thinking, oh my gosh, we're going to get people from all over. And yes, we did. I mean, it was just, to think that we were the first casino to open nationwide, it was just, it was just overwhelming. And
Wow.
there were lines of people to come in. And then we had to think on our feet, okay, we're going to reach capacity. But what is capacity? So we based it off on the percentage of machines that we had. We had half the machines we normally have. So we based on machine play. If 50% of our machines are are being played, then we're at capacity. So we based it off of that. We had to limit the number of people coming in. And then we're going, okay, what are we gonna do with all the people that are lined up outside? Should we sell beer? Should we, should we need restrooms out there? And our food and beverage people said, no, you don't sell beer. And so we offered water, and we had spacing, 6 feet spacing outside. Once again, communication was key. We're having shift meetings and discussing protocols, who's in charge in regards to capacity. And it was just, as I said, ongoing communication was just, that's what got us through. And we had amazing numbers. Luckily, when we opened, it was a soft opening, and we didn't really promote it. We did talk to some of our high-end gamers, and said, hey, we're going to open the doors. The one's located in Idaho, because Washington was closed down still. And and then we had people coming in from all over the country. I remember being on the floor, and there's this group of ladies, and I said, hello, how you doing? Glad, hope everything's fine with here. And they said, oh, we're excited to be here. We heard you open, and we jumped in the car and drove all the way over here from Minneapolis. Like, Minneapolis.
Wow.
And we had people coming in from Texas, and droves of people coming in from everywhere. And talked to our marketing, and I said, make sure you get all their information, and we're going to still talk to these people and entice them to come back. It's pretty hot in Texas during the summertime. Let's get them here during the wintertime if we can, when it's our summertime. So we were on top of that as well. And then May was our grand opening, and that was it was crazy. The month of May, we had record numbers. It was the best month we've ever had in the history of the
Wow.
property. And actually, 2020 was amazing numbers. 2021 was the best year we've ever had in the history of the property. And we're on track to do well today.
That's excellent. Okay, so you were closed for, what was it, 6 weeks or 8 weeks total?
Oh, I think it was 8 weeks.
Okay. So
Yes.
wow. So okay. So and then when you reopened, it was just, there was so much demand, and you were the only ones. How long did that last? How long did those record numbers persist? And how quickly did the other casinos follow?
Oh, they were quick to
Yeah,
follow.
I bet.
We were probably the only ones open for a good 3 weeks, 3 weeks. And then everyone started opening it up after that. So mid-May, they started opening.
Okay.
And as I said, we had record numbers, and we just maintained communication. Also, we kept our protocols in place for probably a good year. And I think that helped us through. I think customers felt safe. Our employees felt safe, and then we had to manage through the vaccine, and then also positive cases in the form of employees. And that was challenging. We had to set up that process. And as I said, communication was key. And so we were able to communicate. We had a good communication with our local health officials. We maintained a list of who was positive, who was quarantined, and monitored that list and shared
Yeah.
that list.
Yeah.
Of course, we had to keep it confidential and really work through that. And then, okay, are we going to pay them while they're out on quarantine? We certainly don't want them to come to work when they're positive. So yes, we paid them. And then we had to figure out, okay, for how many days. We're trying to follow CDC, and it seemed CDC was changing their message daily, if not weekly. So it was very challenging, and but we worked through that. And also, trust was important. The employees trusted that we were taking care of them. The customers trusted that we're providing a safe environment. And we did not have no major outbreak here at the casino and the resort. And our numbers, I think we kept pretty low. We had a low death rate, but any number, of course, is is sad. But I think that through our protocols and just really being diligent helped get us through this.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you applied for the job as CEO several times, and so clearly that was something you had in mind. You wanted to be CEO. Can you talk about how far back did that interest go? How far back did you know you wanted to be CEO?
Um, Quite a ways back. I've had some great mentors, and our CEO, our first CEO, Dave Matheson, certainly has been a great mentor. Has always encouraged me to move forward and supported me in that effort, because I truly knew and understood why we had what we had here in the form of jobs and creating revenue and looking out for next generations to come. I knew that this is much more. It was much more special, much more above and beyond what we're doing day in, day out, that we're making investments for our next generations, similar to what our ancestors have always done for us. And it's ironic that today we're still fighting for the same things that my ancestors were fighting for, centuries ago, as far as just establishing and acknowledging that we are Coeur d'Alene tribal people, and we're always going to be here, and we need to protect our community and our tribe. We need to look out for our next generations. And so through gaming, we're doing that. And so that just that passion and that vision has been instilled in me since day one. And I've invested, I've embraced that message in any capacity that I worked in. I've worked in promotions, marketing, culture tourism, and PR, and always had that passion to move forward and progress and do well for my tribe. And I've been fortunate enough to see some great leaders in my position, and watch what they did well and some things that I would probably do differently. And so I did apply 3 other times, and the first 2 times I had my bachelor's degree and a lot of years of experience behind me, and I didn't get the positions, and I was a little upset, but it's okay. I'm just going to keep, moving ahead and being positive. I believe in that you should always create value for yourself, and looking at issues or concerns within the business or your department. And if you can help solve those issues or concerns and provide a solution, that provides value for yourself. And so I always try to take on that sentiment, and I think that's helped me move along and move up. The third time I applied, or the second time after I didn't get the position, I asked, well, why? And then they said, what can I do better?
Hmm.
And they said, well, you don't have your MBA. All the other applicants do have their master's. And we're interviewing you because you have experience. You've been there all these years. And I said, oh, okay. So I have to go back to school. And so I did go back, and that was so difficult. Being out of school for 20, 30 years, to go back and get my master's is very challenging. And I graduated in 2014. And I applied for the position thinking, okay, I'm going to get it. I got my master's and I'm ready. And they told me this is what I need to do. I didn't get it. I was very disappointed. And, but, I just went home and I was upset. And the next day I just got up and just said, okay, I'm just going to continue just to work hard for my tribe and move forward. And it wasn't meant to be. And then this came up, and I got the position. And I think that things do happen for a reason. And I pride myself in the fact that I'm very calm, and I understand that my position as a leader is to provide good leadership, and part of that is offering stability, and being calm and really thinking things through. And I think that it was very important during this pandemic. And so I think things happen for a reason. I believe that.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's a great story too. I mean, I think persistence is such a vital trait for, I think, for anybody that wants to accomplish something challenging.
Yes, yes, never give up on your dreams. And, there's obstacles put in front of us time and time again, but, you just have to move forward. And my grandmother used to always say, don't take the bad too bad or the good too good. I didn't quite understand what she meant, but I thoroughly understand today. And it's true. I still practice that.
Yeah. So, so you have worked with the resort since the beginning. What were some of your ideas? What were some of your thoughts about what was your vision for how you wanted to lead the organization? Obviously, COVID threw some wrenches into that, but when
Yes.
you came in as CEO, what were some of the things that you felt strongly about?
Um, I really felt strongly in the fact that we needed to come together and work together as a team. I saw a lot of silos within the business, and that we need to work together more in the towards the success of the property. With COVID, it did really help bring us together. It also made us focus on what is most important. And what is most important for our resort is that casino floor. That's
Mhm.
where we make the dollars. So that helped kind of put together and formulate my vision to bring in the team together, to working together. I also knew that we could run more efficiently than the way we were running. And part of that, the way to do that was to listen to our employees, let the managers run their departments, um, and contribute towards efficiency, and really listen to the employees who are there day in, day out, as far as what they do and how they can make improvements, what we could do to improve the processes that they follow day in, day out. Also, sitting down, we've implemented profit and loss P&L meetings. Our CFO actually initiated those meetings. And those are very amazing and very informational and important, and also it empowers that manager and those employees as to how can we contribute towards being more efficient and being more productive. That's been very fruitful for us as well. So just listening and taking care of our employees, bringing them together and providing a healthy workplace. um, we have a slogan that we call welcome home, and this came from our value system of what we call traditional tribal hospitality. Our tribe is known as being very friendly, and it's traditional. Like when you go into our homes, we open our doors, we greet you at the front door and show you, good food, and provide warm, friendly smile. And so we incorporate that into our business here as well. And I really wanted to develop that service, that welcome home service.
I see. I see. That's very interesting. That's very interesting. So, so it sounds like, just to pull one of the things out that you said, with the P&L meetings, you would before I would assume that maybe the top leadership would know the profit and loss and the trends and all that, and during and after the pandemic, you've wanted to make sure that line managers and others throughout the organization would be aware of the current P&L, and therefore they would have more context to some decisions they were making.
Yes, yes. And we'd have once again that communication. Okay, you're above budget. What's happening?
Mm,
And they would reference to, oh, this order came in late. We had a double invoice, and so that influenced that number. You're under budget. Why? What's going on? And we had that dialogue, important dialogue. And so they're very diligent as far as what's happening with those numbers and monitoring, and then having that communication was so important for us to understand what's happening within their departments. And then also understanding that what they're doing definitely influences the overall productivity of the business. And then they truly contributed towards our net profit. And what a celebration that is, that we all did this, that took the team. And these little things build up to amazing numbers. Maximizing our revenue, and being real diligent with our expenses
that's
has been
great.
effective for us. um,
That's great. So would you say that is gaming a male dominated industry? Is it challenging to be a female CEO in the industry, or would you say it's been or is that not the case?
I believe it is male dominated. There's not many tribal casino CEOs,
Hmm.
lady
Hmm.
CEOs, and I didn't fully recognize that until I got the position. And I said, "Wow, okay. There's not very many lady CEOs, tribal lady CEOs. I bet a few, and um, and we all work hard, and also, definitely in cognizant of the fact that I think that I have to work harder, prove myself. And I think that this pandemic really did help in that effort. I think that when I came into the position, I wanted to make sure that because tribal council, they are my boss. And so I wanted to build trust and credibility with them. And because of COVID, I think that I was able to build that trust and a credibility with them. And, but I had to prove myself. I think anyone would have to do that in their position. I think that is something that's not different, but I think I just a little more extra add to that is, and so um, definitely wanted to come here and work with our employees and let them know that I appreciate them, I acknowledge them, empower them, and because the fact that we're 24/7 operation, I would come in during the graveyard shift and meet with them and also understand what they do. It's a different shift. They do things a little different. There's like a different tone. And so that was key as far as building trust with our employees. And it's just, doing the work and and understanding and empathizing with the employee as well has been important. I think as a woman, just having to get out there and do the work and work with employees and respect the employees, and also thoroughly understand, what my job is here, and that is to make money, but also provide jobs for our tribal members and for our community members.
Yeah, yeah. Are there rankings in terms of the size of the tribal casinos around the country? I would assume that your resort and casino is probably one of the biggest. Is that the case?
Um, no, I don't. I mean, there's huge casinos. There's in California, and the California tribes have Sequan and Verona. Those are huge casinos. I think we're kind of like a mid range
Okay.
casino. Um, we have about 1,200 machines. We don't have table games. A lot of people ask us why, and that's because the state of Idaho doesn't have table games. And through IGRETs, whatever the states can do, the tribes can do is
Mm,
in the form of
I
gaming.
see.
Yeah, we are the largest in Idaho. There's 5 tribes in Idaho, and we are the largest of the 5 as far as our casino. And then our competitors, they're one of our competitors is much larger than we are. And that's why I really honed in on the welcome home
Mm,
service slogan, because we offer that comfortable feeling. And, you come into our casino and we know your name, we smile at you, we greet you, and just offering that extra level of service. That has been challenging being short staffed, and that definitely
sure.
has affected that service message. And when we're short staffed and really pushing our good employees to continuously come in and work these hours, it's really hard to continue to offer that welcome home service. So we've offered, I mentioned the morale committee, to where we do extra things. We have extra fun drawings, theme nights, and bonus incentives, and trying to provide and take care of our employees.
Yeah, I see. I see. Very interesting. Um, so what's something that you wished you'd known before becoming CEO? Did anything surprise you about the job
Um,
besides the the major surprise in
um,
2020?
it's there's we just hired a new food and beverage director, and he has a psychology degree. And I said that will definitely help you out here.
Yeah.
And at times, I feel like I'm involved a lot of social work issues, that type of things. I think balance is so important, life balance, and that's work. Um, You wouldn't think it would be work, but it is work. I have to really, work on keeping balance in my life,
Yeah.
and it's challenging. And also, I talk to a lot of the employees, and they're trying to, balance and challenge. They're challenged with trying to maintain that balance as well. Um, so that's something that I've really, I've kind of always known, but it's just been really come to light more often now, and trying to, this position is very stressful, and it's so important that I'm able to take care of myself, and that's, exercising, eating right, sleeping right, and just really taking care of myself so I can come to work and take on these hours, take on some of the challenges that I take on in the form of making big decisions, and decisions that affect people's lives. And so I think that's so important.
Yeah, and I think that's critical for all CEOs. I think that it's so important to make sure that you're functioning at the right level, because you can grind it out, and then the quality of your decisions may is going to come down. And I think, just like you identified, the profit center as the casino floor. Um, I think there are certain decisions we may, decision fatigue among CEOs is a real thing, and if we're focused on tiny little decisions, and that makes it so that we can't make good decisions on the things that really matter, then that's a failing on the part of a CEO.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah. So where do the people come from who visit the casino? Is it mostly within a couple hundred miles, or is it just basically from all over now?
Yeah. We are local. We're more, I'd say, more of a local casino, and local meaning 100-mile radius.
Hmm.
So that would include Spokane, Washington,
Hmm.
and Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, Eastern Montana, Central Washington. Um, and also Canadians. We missed our Canadians. They're just now starting to come back down, and we love our Canadians. We usually would have a bus a month of Canadians coming down to gamble, and we haven't had that in a couple of years, and they're just now starting to pick back up.
No.
So we're happy to have them back. We do have anywhere within the 300-mile radius I consider as our market, but during slow season, during the winter season, we rely upon most of our local market. We do have a bus program, as I mentioned, and we have people come in. We have the amazing golf course that drives a lot of visitors from Seattle area, um, and we even market it down in Texas and Arizona, Boise, Idaho, which is 8 hours south of us. Um, so, yeah, pretty much within this Northwest region.
Well, so I'd love to know, and you've already alluded to this a little bit. Was there ever a time when you almost gave up on your plan to to become CEO? You worked at it for so long, and was there ever a time where you were just like ready to pack it in?
Yes. um, as I said, I applied 3 other times, and I probably each time I was like, "Oh my gosh, like I'm never gonna get it," and it was very discouraged. Especially that third time when I got my master's, and that really hit me hard. And I was just thinking, "What's the point? I'm not gonna get it," and it was very discouraged. Um, and I believe in allowing the feelings and allowing myself to feel sorry for myself or be discouraged, be mad,
Mhm.
and um, but you just got to get back up and move forward. And I really do believe I've always been very patient and working hard, and that's what got me through it. Was just that I'm not going to give up on my dreams, and that I just need to continue to do the best. And I'm doing this for a good reason.
Mhm.
And as I said, I'm totally vested into my tribe and this casino. So I knew whatever capacity I'm in, I'm going to do the best job I can do and take it on in that regard. So it's just your mindset, and just that positive mindset. I was I reflect, I try to reflect on, how can I be a better leader, and also recognize people who are doing well.
Mm.
We have amazing employees here, and I've recognized that there's always been this group of employees that just shine, and they're always positive. And I mentioned the welcome home attitude, and they just, convey that in every capacity. And some of them work in maintenance, some work in the front desk. Um, and kind of monotonous jobs, they're day in day out, but they're always just cheery and smiling. So I put together an ambassador program, welcome home ambassador program, and recognize them, put together a video, and ask, and we're going to host a lunch. This is just a couple weeks ago I put this together. Host a lunch and thank them for, continuously providing that welcome home attitude, and ask them, what makes you tick? How are you able to be positive, and day in, day out? And and they loved it. They love to tell their story. They love to be recognized. And I like to use them in some of our training that we have. Take them out to some of we have like chamber, upbeat breakfast meetings, and have them come in. Also, I do present to our tribal council at least once a month.
Mm.
Come in and, and meet tribal council and recognize them in their efforts, and have them get out there doing some of our training with our employees, spreading that message, orientation. Myself and the CFO going to meet during our orientation to bring in new employees, bring some ambassadors in there as well. So I think that's something really special that they're able to provide day in, day out. And I think they can help spread that message.
That's great. Yeah. And I think having that mission and knowing that, the values that you've referenced, multiple times, like I think that makes such a critical difference in morale, for you, for everybody that's involved with it, I would assume.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been here for years, and I certainly have had my ups and downs in my personal life and professional, but always just get back up and move forward, and persevere. And I feel like I have a responsibility not only to myself and my family, but to my tribe. I mentioned our ancestors, that they just have done amazing, the fact that we're here and that we have always lived here on our lands, and also have been taken care of in the form of education, and our medical, and taking care of our land base, our language, our culture, our waters, and looking out for our tribe has always been important, and I embrace that. And that's what's helped me to move forward, that I just kind of keep moving forward and doing the best I can, as I said, not only for myself but for my tribe as well.
Well, I've learned a lot today. This has been one of the most fascinating interviews for me because I didn't know about how the tribal council works and how a casino like yours would operate. I'm sure a lot of people are going to benefit from hearing about your path. Is there anything that we didn't cover that you wanted to talk about?
I think we covered quite a bit. um, I think that just having that vision, our values, really, in understanding your own values. And the tribe has always had a value system, taking care of themselves and looking out for next generations
Mm,
to come, and we incorporate that into our business. But also as leaders, to understand what your values are, and that you can take and reference back to those values when you're making those difficult decisions. I think that's so important.
yeah, I agree. I agree. And I think this has been really enlightening. Thank you so
Thank
much for joining today.